Okay, this is a very general question I get asked all the time, and that's for those people that have a DX camera like a Nikon D7100, D3000 series, D5000 series, and as is the case, there are actually only a couple, three DX lenses that I could recommend even considering a purchase. Nikon is not heavily invested in their DX line. They have almost 3 times as many FX lenses as they do DX. 21 lenses versus 74 for FX. The number is increasing on full-frame lenses. As is the case, all companies, including Nikon, operate off the principle innovate or die. I've already told you in prior videos that the next generation of cameras are full-frame cameras with DX pixel density. Due to the fact of SNR firmware algorithm, the advantage of both dynamic range and large photo site gain when it comes to light gathering capability has been nullified. Radio astronomy actually was the first to actually introduce this technology. It's a signal-to-noise time compressional and elimination algorithms which eliminate out the noise variant. So far as the large satellite dish versus a small satellite dish, they found out that actually arrays could eliminate out the light gathering capability. Now, between light and radio, there's absolutely no difference. It's all part of the electromagnetic spectrum. The same thing applies. Your sensor, if you think that a full-frame sensor is gathering more light, you need to think again, because there's a lot more in there than an SD card or compact flash card and your digital sensor. And there just is. There's AD converters, and there's also the SNR firmware compressor, which Nikon and Canon and everybody else has their own secret soup of signal-to-noise ratio firmware, which processes out the noise. That is what also is part of the huge magical nature of the Nikon D750, that it has extremely low light f-stop capabilities for bringing out details in post. Is the case that DX sensors, not immediately, but soon, and define soon, we're talking about 3+ years, probably less. It's probably more like 2. The DX cameras are going to be phased out. Nikon is not heavily invested in DX lenses. This doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your Nikon D7100. It's that it's innovate or die, and what is superseding all full-frame cameras is another full-frame sensor. The only difference is that it is going to have, and the Canon is the first to roll this out. Okay, we already know about Canon's new full-frame sensor with just amazing high megapixel sensor, and all it is a full-frame sensor with DX pixel density, and it has to have a new breed of card, and it has to have a new breed of buffer, it has to have a new breed of AD converters and processors, and it has to have a new breed of ultra-fast buffers. And they're waiting on SanDisk and everybody else to roll those out. That is a new breed that is going to override full frame as the next generation. Of course, you're going to need new cards, and you're going to need an ultra fast computer. I mean, the D810 alone in the 36 megapixel RAW files is bad enough with a quad-core processor and 16 gig of RAM, well 32 in my case, on the one computer. I mean, it's bad enough as far as how slow it is, even with an insanely fast computer. Everything is about, planned obsolescence, and that is what's going to happen. Now, as far as the DX lenses, I've said this before, if you're asking because you have a DX camera, you should not be seeking out DX lenses. There are only 3 worth having, ultimately. That's the 10.5mm fisheye, the 12 to 24 f4, and the other one is the uber excellent 35mm f1.8G. I mean, that's a super sharp prime lens. It's only $200. It's just an exquisite lens. Now, the really cheapo kit lens with a plastic mount is also cheap thrills. That's the 18 to 55mm, and while it is a junky, it's really the only junky lens that Nikon makes. By junky, I mean it is mass-produced damn fast in China by slave labor. That is the only junky lens that Nikon produces, but it's actually a rather sharp lens, even though it is prone to early destruction, self-destruction. It's actually a decent lens. So those are the only three: the fisheye 10.5, the wonderful 12 to 24 f4, and the 35mm prime. I said Nikon is not invested in DX lenses, and there's a reason for that. Nikon and Canon have been waiting to roll out the next generation of digital cameras. I know what it's going to be. I've told you about it in prior videos. It's just going to be full frame sensors with DX pixel densities, and the FX cameras currently are going to become the new breed of DX cameras. In other words, like, oh, you got an old 36 megapixel camera. Well, right now I've got a new 50 megapixel. So Canon is the first one to roll that out. Nikon is very soon to follow. You know, wherever Nikon is actually glad Canon was the first to come out with it, because once Canon introduces that, which they've already done, and that gives Nikon to eyeball what Canon did and one-up them. So it's like someone never wants to be the first to jump off a tall cliff, because you never know how shallow the butt. You want to see the other person fail and how they failed. So Nikon didn't want to go first on that. They were smart in letting Canon throw their head right into the fire. So that's good for Nikon's part by letting Canon go first. But that's what's going on. It's going to be 2 to 3 years, and DX cameras are going to be going, right down the chute. They're still going to be around. I don't know what form, but a lot fewer models are going to be produced as far as a DX camera. Because when it comes to production cost, the actual production cost between full-frame lenses and DX lenses, even though some of the elements are a lot smaller, are very, very minimal. Nikon is not invested in the DX lens line, and I said that, D7100 is still one of my favorite cameras. I mean, even though I've got a pair of D810s and a D3 sitting here, and some other nice full-frame cameras like the D750 and D700s and whatnot. It's it's an exquisite camera. It's all you need. You just shouldn't buy into the hype that you need to upgrade to full frame. Right? There really is no serious advantage in dynamic range or light capacity between full frame and DX. There isn't. If you buy into the hype and lies, then you buy into it. This notion, well, that's a DX, you need to upgrade to full frame or FX, and that's the professional level, and that's just the biggest load of crap there ever was. There's not that much separating out the $650 Nikon factory refurb and this $3,000, well, the price is down now, this $3,000 Nikon D810. There just is not. Now there's no anti-aliasing filter on the D810. And it is obviously exquisitely better for doing landscapes if you're going to, print out some huge jumbo prints, or if you can justify it for writing it off on your taxes, or if you're a wedding photographer. But other than that, if you think you're going to, spit out better shots with this D810 versus your D7100, you're not. Nikon and Canon both know this, and like I said, the next generation of cameras is already written in stone, and we know what it's going to be. And all you have to do is take a look at a company, what they're producing, or not producing, and that will tell you where the future is going, and that's where it's going. DX lenses and cameras are slowly rolling out the door, and the bare minimum in the future is going to be full-frame cameras like the D750 and D810. And then the next new level of professional DSLRs are going to be the 40, 50 megapixels, which all they are is the same thing you've got here. There's not a new breed of lenses for them. They do have to have better corner sharpness, however. The next breed of lenses are going to be full-frame sensors with DX pixel densities. So it's nothing amazing or fantastic. It's just the larger sensor with the DX pixel density. And anyway, thanks for watching, and let me know if you got any questions about anything. Catch you later.